GearNetwork.com.
The following is a presentation of the Gear Radio Network.
This is Lee Painter, and you're listening to the All Bets Are Off podcast with Robbie Vegas.
What's up, rock soldiers, and welcome to another episode of the All Bets Are Off podcast. I'm your host, the rock star Robbie Vegas, and with me is not Chaz, but it's Mike Burns.
Had to take that from Chaz. Sorry, man. Future endeavored you this week.
You know, something's going on here because he's always supposed to be here when you're here, and then he's not. So is there a feud here that I don't know about?
I don't know. I didn't think so at first, but I think tonight has solidified it. I think there's officially a Mike Burns Chaz feud.
I think so too, and he was going to bring the bubbly, and now Jericho's disappointed. I called Chris. I said, Chris, we were going to do the taste test. Chaz dropped the ball, and Chris is bummed.
Yeah, I haven't talked to him yet. I'm talking to him after we record, but I mean, I'm not looking forward to it because he's going to be, not his best, Jericho, so.
Well, we're going to have to fill up a hot tub full of mimosa.
Oh.
And, and make it up to him. So, Chaz, we're sorry that, your feelings got hurt when I mentioned future endeavoring you for Mike. And it was a joke, but now I don't know. So, Mike.
Yes.
I have to take a minute to tell you about our sponsor.
Let's do it, man.
So, this episode is presented by Wild CBD. That's Wild, W-Y-L-D, produces the best tasting edibles on the market using real fruit and all-natural flavoring. With flavors inspired by the Pacific Northwest, high-quality ingredients, real fruit, and consistent dosing, is what I tried to say, Wild has become one of the leading cannabis edible producers in the country. Wild's new CBD line currently offers real fruit-infused gummies in blackberry, huckleberry, lemon, raspberry, and CBD-infused sparkling water in the raspberry, lemon, blackberry, blood orange flavors. Each gummy is dosed with 25 milligrams of CBD and can be purchased in a bottle of 10 or 20. So Wild CBD is offering our listeners 30% off their next purchase. That's a lot. From wildcbd.com by using the code POD. That's code POD for 30% off your next purchase. Not talking about the band. But Wild CBD products are intended only for use by individuals aged 18 and older. Wild CBD products should only be consumed as directed on the label and should not be used if you are pregnant or breastfeeding. All Wild CBD products are made with ingredients containing 0% THC. Consult with a health professional prior to using Wild CBD in combination with any medications or other dietary supplements. So what's up, Mike?
Oh, just doing exactly what I always do. Just working too much, too little, probably in some people's definition, but, and watching too many, and maybe in some people's definition, too little horror movies.
I don't know if anybody would say too little.
Yeah,
because you're on top.
That's what I do. I just watch a lot of horror movies, and usually, it's funny, usually around this time, I have a little bit of a horror hangover just from cramming in so many watches around Halloween, because I usually do a little more around the month of October. Especially like when we did the Top Final Girls episode, I think I squeezed like 40 movies in 2 weeks, 3 weeks maybe.
Okay.
So, yeah, so it was, usually I tend to go, to cleanse my palate a little bit. I'll watch like the comedies I used to love from the 80s and 90s or, just go back to some of the things that I used to love. But yeah, I haven't done that this year. I'm just going straight, with horror. I've got a few Thanksgiving movies that I'm so stoked to talk about on this episode.
So we're going to start with the cult classic of Thankskilling.
Oh, man.
And for anybody who hasn't seen this, I think they're missing out.
Yeah, I think they are too. Listen, man, it's a classic. It's fun. If you get offended easily, it's probably not the movie for you, but it's fun. It's offensive. It's gory. It's ridiculous. It's only like an hour long.
Yeah.
So really if you throw this on, you're not wasting any more time than watching like an episode of Game of Thrones or something. Like those are hour long episodes. So yeah, it's a really brisk watch. I think it's great. I actually love the sequel, which is Thankskilling 3. But yeah, that one's just as good as the first one too. But the first one is just so much fun. I watched it 3 times in the last week.
I think total I've only seen this movie like 7 times.
Yeah,
but
that's a lot for a movie though. Some people never rewatch movies.
That's true. That's true. This is one to rewatch for sure. Mm-hmm. For sure. And yes, you did say the sequel was part 3.
Oh,
we'll
yes,
get there.
It is.
We'll get
yes,
there. So we're going to talk about Thankskilling in detail, and then probably a little bit of Thankskilling 3, and I want you to give some recommendations for Thanksgiving horror movies just in general.
Absolutely.
So, So let's start with Thankskilling.
All right.
So let's just throw this out there. The movie starts with the pilgrim woman running through the woods.
Yes.
And the turkey killing her. Like, that's the first scene in this entire movie. So, oh, by the way, if you haven't seen the movie, this whole episode is a spoiler.
Yes, yes, it will be a spoiler. It's only a 60-minute movie, guys. Pause the episode. Go watch it. I'm pretty sure it's streaming somewhere, right?
It's streaming on a lot of channels, actually.
Yeah, it's always streaming. Just check your Primes, your Netflixes. I don't know. I bet Shudder's probably got it. Who knows? Shudder's got all the horror. So.
If you have a Roku, if you just search for that movie, it'll tell you everything it's streaming on. Everything.
Awesome.
So I think I searched it and it came up on like 7 different apps.
Yeah.
And this movie, by the way, people, is so low budget, it's like lower than low budget.
Yeah. Like when I talk about movies, or if you ever see me, on Instagram or something explaining a movie like this was shot for, $1,000 in somebody's backyard. You watch this movie, there's only a couple locations. It's shot for like $1,000 in somebody's backyard. It is as charming as an independent horror comedy about Thanksgiving can be. And the thing is, it's not very old.
No, it's not.
It's not very old, so it's not like a cult classic that, that was rediscovered from the 70s or 80s. Like, this is like, I don't have the exact year in front of me, but I think it's like late 2000s or mid-2000s.
I want to say 2008.
I was thinking 07. That's a complete guess, though.
We'll search it.
There you go. Yeah, I'm completely unprepared. I have no notes, so I apologize.
2008, yep.
2008, there you go.
Yep. That's really not that long ago if you think about it.
No, 12 years ago, that's really not a long time.
And I think that's around the time I first saw it, to be honest with you. But I probably didn't realize it was new.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly.
Well, it's also poorly shot because it's like a handheld camera.
I especially noticed that. I was actually, just rewatching in the background before I came over here today to do this podcast. And yeah, there was this one scene to where I just noticed the camera's just like, it's in a normal movie, it would just be like a low shot of their Jeep just going by real quick. But this low shot of the Jeep just going by and the camera's pointing down the road, it's all shaky and everything. It's just like, it definitely meant to be shaky, but there was a couple spots where it was just like somebody's arm was getting tired. You could tell there was like a cramp in somebody's arm or something, and like it didn't mean to shake like that. It is so fun, so charming. It's one of those movies to where when you see something wrong with it, you're not mad, you laugh.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's like that.
There was a few scenes in this movie that really made me have like a belly laugh and doubled over.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, they did a really good job. And of course the turkey talks. Mm-hmm. And he is the murderer, so spoiler alert. He's
kind of like a Freddy Krueger type of killer, where he's talking, he has personality, he's telling one-liners, he's joking. A later Freddy. Not the Freddy we all loved from parts 1 through 3 or whatever, but more so the 4 through 6 Freddy.
And his name is Turkey.
With an IE.
Yes, right.
Yes.
I think it might have 2 R's in it, too. I'm just saying.
Maybe one of them backwards. Who knows?
So we see him. So we see him kill the pilgrim woman in the first 15 seconds.
Yeah. By the way, the movie opens on a shot of a single breast.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
It is just that, and then the camera pans out. And then you eventually see it's attached to an entire pilgrim woman.
That's right.
Who only has her breasts exposed.
And we don't know why.
We don't know why.
It's never explained.
No.
And he just kills her.
Yeah, he just kills her. And it is, honestly, if that intro to the movie turns you off or you're not a fan of it, you're not going to be a fan of the rest of the movie. No. I would say it is 100% safe to, after the first 30 seconds, if you're not feeling it, turn it off.
Yes.
You're not going to get much different than that for the rest of the 60-minute runtime. I
would say that this is very sophomore humor.
Oh, absolutely.
So you have to have that kind of mind.
Yes. It's very Beavis and Butthead-ish, just dick and fart jokes everywhere. It is. But the thing is, it's so sophomoric, and you can tell that everybody is in on the joke so much that, it's almost like a Sharknado thing where you kind of embrace it. You're watching this because you want to see some ridiculousness. You want to see some great gore. You want to see some situations to where, obviously any person with a brain in their head should know something is wrong, but they're even playing some scenes off straight.
Yeah.
That they're absolutely, they absolutely shouldn't be.
Yep.
So, I mean, it is just, I don't know, this is, you could even get a few beers, get a few friends, this movie. I don't know, I'm just, gushing about it right now.
It is nice shirt, by the way.
Thank you I am wearing, shout out to Pizza Party Printing if you guys want a Thankskilling shirt. They've got them there. It was a pre-order. I got mine in the mail just yesterday, threw it in the wash, and then threw it on today for this podcast. But
and you're going to send me a picture of it to use when this airs.
Absolutely, absolutely. Pizza Party Printing. They have a ton of horror stuff. Stickers, patches, shirts. You're welcome, Pizza Party.
Not a sponsor, but hey, if you want to be, hit us up.
There we go.
So let's also get this out of the way. The actors, all terrible.
Oh, terrible. The way you can tell that the actors are terrible is right when you bring up the IMDb page. You just look at everything and nobody has a picture. Nobody has a picture on their profile, so that is a dead giveaway that these actors have probably done nothing before and nothing since.
Yeah, absolutely. So spoiler, they're not in the sequel.
One of them is. One of them is.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Only one of them is. Yeah, actually, the Naked Pilgrim is in the sequel. I think she's playing the same role.
Yeah, the first 30 seconds.
Yeah, first 30 seconds.
The first scene after the Pilgrim is we're getting to know the characters, the kids, kind of like you do with Scream, and I know what you did last time.
Yeah.
You see the kids, and they're going home for Thanksgiving.
And funny enough, with those kids going home for Thanksgiving and everything, and you have that scene, and it's surprising that. And this is why you know that it's cool that these writers and directors and filmmakers and whoever else behind the scenes has a heavy hand in this, is it's cool that they're in on the joke, because they also know how to tell a story, because you get more character development in these characters in the first 2 minutes of this movie than you do in in most Hollywood horror movies that you see in theaters that have millions and millions of dollars. That's why I say all the time, a good script is free.
Yeah,
as long as you can write a good script. You know who all these characters... And yeah, I get it. It's easy to characterize somebody that's so out there and just so, typical of, what do they call it? Just a stereotype of what they would be. You got the nerd.
Yes.
You got the big old fat hick.
Yeah.
You got, not slut-shaming anybody, but you do have what they would call the slut character, and then you have the good girl, our final girl, who we would assume it would be.
Right.
And then you have the jock.
Yes. Well, let's go, let's just read down the line, because I wrote down, so the cop's daughter was Kristen. Mm-hmm. We had Darren, who was the dork. We had Johnny, who was the jock. Billy was the redneck. And Allie is the skank.
Yep. Yeah, that's a gambit right there. That's all of them.
The next person we see die in this movie, though, is the dog.
I forgot about that. That's always a bummer, and that's why, that's probably the only way that you can get the audience on the side of that hermit in the woods.
Yes.
Yes. That dude is so off-putting and such a, backwoods hermit.
Yeah.
Perfect casting.
Yeah, oh, for sure.
Yeah, you see the dog killed, and it's all right, let's get this turkey, man.
Do you remember how the dog was killed, though?
You know what?
Or why, I should say. Why the dog was killed, not how.
Oh, he pissed on the grave, right?
He pissed on the turkey's head.
on the turkey's head,
and,
yes.
And the turkey says, "I'm pissed."
Yeah.
And then kills the dog.
Oh my god. The one-liners in this movie, there's no shortage. That's, you can't help but to compare them to a Freddy Krueger slasher because of the one-liners and everything.
Yes.
It is just so, and there's even more in the sequel. You go to the sequel, there's even more one-liners.
Yes,
but
and they point them out.
Yes, and the thing is, and there's always the camera is directly on whoever is saying it, and they make sure there's going to be a one-liner. They make sure that you're supposed to be laughing at this one. It is just, I don't know. It's these filmmakers. Jordan Downey is a director, and he's credited as a writer, and there's 2 additional writers, they're credited for additional dialogue and stuff. But man, somebody needs to hand them, what are they on with the scary movies? 6 or something?
Yeah, I think so.
Somebody needs to hand them a scary movie and be all right, go for it. Because I think these are the kinds of filmmakers you need making those kinds of spoof movies or something.
This movie's just underrated. It is.
It is underrated, and I think Thanksgiving horror movies in general are underrated.
Well, maybe not after today.
Hopefully not. But the ones I watched aren't all that great. But but back to Thankskilling, anyways. But yeah, so you've got the I'm pissed, and you have the dog kill.
Yes.
And then that's pretty much. And then is it that scene that the hermit comes out with his looking for his dog, and then his gun, and then so now you got one guy hunting for this turkey then. And then probably my favorite scene in the whole movie. This scene doesn't even need to be in the movie. I don't even know why. But when you see the daughter of the cop call the cop, and then you get this little back and forth between the cop and his wife. Oh my god, dude. I've seen this movie, probably 10 times.
Yeah.
I laugh every time, every other line that is spoken in this cop's house, in this scene. It is so funny.
And the cop may be just my favorite character in general.
Absolutely.
Like, the whole time.
Yes.
But, well, until his, demise.
Yeah. well, even, we're going to be jumping all around and everything because we're going to spoil the hell out of this movie. But even when the cop does end up dying and Turkey ends up wearing the cop's face.
Yes.
Even when Turkey is wearing the cop's face, that is still some of the funniest parts of this entire movie. But anyways,
that's where I doubled over with laughter was that scene.
But anyways, back to the cop.
Yeah.
So the cop, he's just, having his breakfast. He's getting ready for work or whatever. He's all cheery,
Yes,
he's cheery.
yeah.
Nothing can bring this guy down. There's absolutely nothing in the world that can bring this guy down. He's got a smile on his face. He's got his fake mustache going, keeping his upper lip warm.
He's super pumped for Thanksgiving.
Oh my God, super stoked for Thanksgiving. And he takes a sip out of his morning coffee and notice it tastes like shit.
Right.
So he says out loud, this coffee tastes like shit. And so you just see another scene, or another quick cut to his wife. And so what happens there is you see his wife bring out the coffee pot with a giant turd in the middle of it. Because he is drinking shit. Recycling the good old Austin Powers joke.
Right.
So yeah, you got him drinking shit, and then she says, I want a divorce, after she tells him it's shit. The daughter calls, and of course he's having this thing with his daughter, and you come into the Thanksgiving father-daughter cop ball or whatever it was, and she says, of course, and then right before he hangs up, he goes, oh, well, I'll see you when you get here. By the way, your stepmama left me. Love you, bye.
Yes.
Still smiling, still nothing. Even this guy's wife leaving him cannot bring him down from the feeling of Thanksgiving.
That's true.
That's how much his real family means to him, his daughter coming.
And on that note, Chaz still isn't here. All right. But the first person out of the kids that we named to see the turkey is, of course, the cop's daughter. Mm-hmm. So at this point, it's safe to assume she's our final girl.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Well, and you can tell, too, because she's the most innocent. I don't even think she's cursing at all, and while everybody else is just going out. Even the nerd character is just like, I think he's just, in between him wiping his nose off, which, and sniffling all the time, which I can relate to with my allergies. But, yeah, and he's just saying how he's going to go all out. He's going to get drunk. He's going to have sex with somebody in that Jeep.
Yes, that's right. That's right.
He does say that. So, yeah, even the nerd character is just wilding out there. But he's the one to where when their car breaks down, when they're on their way, it's nighttime, they just need the engine to cool off. Which, I don't know, if your engine overheats, something needs to be fixed. You don't just let it cool off, and then when it's cool, you go again.
Right.
It's going to overheat in 30 seconds again. That's why logic doesn't matter in this movie, though.
No.
So they go into the woods. For some reason, they have all their camping gear. They're going home for Thanksgiving.
Yes.
But they have camping gear. I guess that's what people that own Jeeps do. I've never owned one. I'm not in the it's a Jeep thing.
I'm going to call some people who own Jeeps and just see if they take camping equipment everywhere they go. If you have a Jeep and you take camping equipment wherever you go, hit us up on Twitter or Instagram at ABAOpod and tell us that you do that.
Yeah, because I think I saw like 3 tents. There were sleeping bags. They had enough to, make a fire. They had a whole campground there.
Yeah.
So anyways, while they're going to set up camp, the nerd's still up and he's like, I'm going to get fucked up. Yeah, we're going to get drunk. We're going to do all this. And so he's jumping on his buddy's back and stuff. So his buddy pushes him down. And then they keep walking. So as they're pushing him down, he falls on a sign. I forget what the sign said, but it was about this old town. And then he tells the story of a hex that got put on this turkey from the first settlers that came here or something of that sort.
And every 505 years,
exactly,
the turkey comes back for revenge because of this.
Yeah, and it happens to be in 20 minutes or something?
Yes.
It's 505 years.
And they point out how stupid it is when somebody says, let me guess, that's today.
Yeah.
And he says, no.
Yeah.
And then he goes, but in 20 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then we see the turkey.
Then we do see the turkey, and then, right the scene after, I believe, is when Cop's daughter is the first one to see the turkey.
Do you remember what he says to her?
I don't remember, man.
I'm gonna drink your blood like cranberry sauce.
Yes. Oh man, and then, anytime anybody says cranberry sauce in this movie, it just like, my mind just gets shot to like probably one of the more popular Thanksgiving horror movies, slashers from the 80s, and that's Blood Rage, because the tagline in that is, "This isn't cranberry sauce," while he's looking at the blood on his machete.
Yeah.
So, anytime cranberry sauce is mentioned in a horror movie, I'm just like, gotta put in Blood Rage.
Was that a mid-pod recommendation right there?
Absolutely. I'm going to get more into that later, but that is probably my favorite or second. That and Thankskilling are up. Those are my favorite Thanksgiving movies, so absolutely.
So we're going to recommend those two to start, but there's more coming.
There's more coming, but this movie, man. So tell us what comes next.
Well, now we see the kids all get home, right? Mm-hmm. And while that's happening, the turkey is now out to kill them because he had already threatened Kristen, the cop's daughter. So we see the turkey now hitchhiking.
Yes.
And somebody pulls over and tells the turkey, ass, gas.
Or grass.
Or grass.
That was hilarious. That's a scene that is fresh in my head. I just watched it as I was walking out the door to come here, and
hits him with the old Jay and Silent Bob.
Yeah. Yep. The unwritten rules of the road.
Yes, exactly.
Rest in peace, George Carlin. Absolutely.
Ass, cash, grass.
Yeah.
Turkey is offering some ass.
Absolutely, absolutely. And the driver
Accepts.
is for it.
Yeah.
The driver is for it. I think he, comments on how tight
he did.
It is.
He did.
So we get that, and then
but he doesn't survive.
Very, very soon after that is when Turkey's like, "Nah, dog," and then just pulls out a shotgun, and then that's when the driver says, "I have a daughter." So then Turkey says, "Call your daughter."
Yes.
And so the cop does the usual thing that you see in like, it's most action or heist movies or something when something like this has happened, to where he's like, give your mom a kiss for me, tell her I love her. Or no, before he gets to say, "I love you," or "tell your mom I love her," or something like that.
He blows his head off.
That's actually kind of a jump scare if you're expecting him to finish what he's saying.
Yes.
But like right before he gets to even start saying it, it's just bam.
Yep.
You get, I couldn't tell either, like, it kind of looked like it might have been After Effects, like CGI blood on the windshield.
It may have been. It
looked so weird.
Yeah.
It's just so fresh in my head that I was just like, there's like one splotch on the windshield, just one. And I'm just like, and the way he was, I don't know, this is probably my true crime fan speaking out, but the way he was pointing the gun at the guy's head, he was pointing it towards the back window.
Yes. Yeah.
And then there's blood splatter on the windshield. So I was just like, what?
And then the turkey says, "Tell her goodbye."
Oh, man.
So now we're cutting to the jock and his family. Mm-hmm. And he doesn't get along with his dad because his dad always wants him to do better than he's doing, right? So
classic.
Yeah.
The classic.
So, of course, we get, which we see in all kinds of movies. You see that in The Breakfast Club. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, the jock's dad rides him so hard that he duct taped the kid's ass cheeks together. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
So, same concept here for Thankskilling. And Johnny's dad gets his head cut off.
Yep, sure does.
By the turkey. Whew. He's got sharp feathers.
Mm-hmm. I mean, man, Turkey is like, he's just like any slasher. Like, he is built like a brick shit house.
Yes.
Apparently.
You can't kill him.
I have never seen a turkey this strong. You cannot kill this guy. But the thing is, that's also part of the curse, too, is like, there's which you'll find out later in the movie, there is a certain way that he does need to be killed.
Yes. And I'm going to let you describe that when we get there. Mm-hmm. So after Johnny's dad gets his head cut off, now we know the turkey's coming after these kids and their families.
Yes.
And then we go to the skanky chick, who was Allie.
Yes.
And she's having sex. And the turkey comes up and kills the guy that she's having sex with. And she's facing the opposite direction. So the turkey starts having sex with her.
Oh my God.
Again, if you're getting offended at this movie, don't watch it.
Yeah.
This is brutal.
If what we're saying is like, you're just got that look, that stinky look on your face, like you just smell the horrific fart, do not watch this movie. This is an offensive movie.
It is.
This is really not... Honestly, I think if this movie were to come out now, it really... And probably back then, too, it could have been why it didn't get... But it got kind of big once it got... Because this was one of the first movies streaming on Netflix.
Oh, was it really?
Netflix started their streaming service. Thanksgilling was all over Netflix.
I didn't know that.
So, I mean, So, they had that, and there's so few Thanksgiving horror movies that, of course, if you make one, it's going to shoot up. You're going to get eyes on it.
Yeah.
So, but I don't think this could get as big a name or as big a even release nowadays at all whatsoever.
If this movie came out in 2020, it'd be banned.
It would just it would just be for people like us, and unless anybody was doing a podcast on it, nobody would hear about it.
Yeah.
Ever.
For sure.
So,
well, we know he kills the guy, and then he takes over, and the girl's obviously facing the wall, doesn't see the turkey, and says something feels weird, and turns around as the turkey finishes, and he says, "You just got stuffed."
Yes.
And then
that is one of the funniest one-liners, too, because it's after just one of the most brutally offensive scenes. And, of course, I don't even want to begin to imagine how weird that must have felt.
Yeah, right.
Because it's just like, wow. Wow.
Now, the next scene, though, is my favorite scene in the whole movie. Mm-hmm. The turkey goes to the cop's house because he's hell-bent on killing his daughter.
Yeah.
He wants to kill Kristen. The cop is dressed up like a giant turkey.
Yes.
Because he's going to the Thanksgiving ball. He opens the door dressed as a turkey, and the turkey's standing there with a disguise on. It's just that old glasses with the big
Groucho.
nose.
Yeah,
the Groucho.
Groucho.
Yeah. And the turkey stops and goes,
Oh, man. Really?
And then they have a conversation, and he pretends, now mind you, this is a turkey with a Groucho, like glasses and nose on.
Yeah.
Saying, "I'm looking for your daughter." And the cop, dressed as a turkey, says, "Well, she's not here right now, but you can come on in if you want."
Yeah.
Cutting to an awkward, silent scene with the turkey and the cop sitting at the table.
Dinner table, yeah. The funniest part of that, though, is I can't remember what... Oh, her name's Kristen?
Yes.
I think he said he's looking for somebody... He says a different name that starts with a K or a C.
Right.
He definitely says the wrong name. And then the cop looks at him and goes, "You mean Kristen?"
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, yeah. And the funniest thing is like, if you haven't seen it, I'll paint a picture for you. But like, with the Groucho glasses on, Turkey's eyes, they're like on the side of their head. Like,
Yeah.
you can't, like, the glasses are in front, and it still has even the little mustache, too, and it looks just so ridiculous because it's a turkey. It's got a beak.
Right.
It doesn't have a mouth.
Right.
The Groucho thing just looks absolutely hilariously ridiculous on him.
I just love the fact that they're sitting awkwardly at the table trying to have a conversation.
And the thing is, like, they have coffee cups in front of them, and even Turkey, like, bends over the table and, like, drinks out of the coffee cup
Yes.
like a dog would or something. But you still hear, like, the sip as if, like, a human is drinking out of the coffee cup. Oh, man.
So, of course, everything's fine, and the turkey's getting ready to leave. And then, I can't remember what the cop says, but he offends the turkey somehow. Mm-hmm. And then you don't see anything. There's a cutscene.
He calls him a duck.
That's what it is.
Calls him a duck.
Yes. So, cutscene happens. Kids now are all together and show up at Kristen's house because her dad's a cop, and they're going to figure out how to beat this turkey.
Yes.
Right? Of course, they walk in, and the turkey is now wearing the cop's face, like Leatherface.
Leatherface
which looks
style.
absolutely ridiculous. Like a turkey wearing a human's face.
Yeah, it's hanging, like, way off of the beak and stuff.
And the kids don't see the difference.
No.
She says, "Hi, Dad," and she kisses him.
She gives him a kiss and a hug. Like, bends over to hug him and give him a kiss on his dead face that's on a turkey.
And the turkey's
Oh,
playing
he's got the hat on, too.
Oh, he does.
And it's funny, she says, "Wow, you look different," or "Something's different about you," something along those lines. So Turkey then takes his hat off, and she goes, "Oh, you got a haircut."
Right.
The cop was bald.
Right.
The cop was bald to start with. So, I mean... Oh, good Lord. Yeah, this
This is my favorite part. This whole, block here.
Yes. Like, any part of this movie, honestly, that features the cop or the cop's face is, for some reason, hilarious.
Yes.
It's just, the guy that plays the cop is just...
Oh, he did great.
So into it. He did so great. He knew exactly what this movie was, and, good for him.
And now all the kids are in the house with the turkey.
Yeah.
So we don't know what's going to happen from here because they're right where the turkey wants them to be, and they think it's Kristen's dad.
Well, because Kristen's dad has this collection of books.
Right.
It's too late to go to the library to find out anything about this turkey, so they have to go to... It's funny because they keep calling it like her dad's book collection.
Yes.
Nobody says book collection. Like, they have a library at their house.
Right.
Even if it's not like a brick and mortar library.
It's
if
a
you have a
library.
lot of books, you say, "I have a library."
Right.
Like,
Exactly.
Yeah, like...
I don't have a book collection.
A collection of books.
Do you collect anything?
And the funny thing is they go to his back room, it just looks like a storage room.
Yes.
Like, there's just storage containers everywhere. So it's like, all right, all these books are just in containers everywhere. And they happen to find an ancient book.
Yes, that's
Where
right. That's right.
The fat guy,
I was going to say
he's
I'm
just
getting
eating snacks the whole time.
And he's starving.
He's starving.
We got to point that out.
Yeah, he is starving. So he's eating Cheetos.
Right.
The white Cheetos, too, my favorite. The white cheddar Cheetos.
And this is the redneck kid.
Yes.
So he's the heavy set.
Big boy. Yeah, the big boy. The character that, I would probably be playing. I'd love to say that I'd be playing the jock. No, I'd be the big boy that needs some snacks. So yeah, he's eating his snacks. And then as soon as they find this ancient book that for some reason Kristen's dad has, he just goes, my God, that took forever. And then Kristen just goes, we were only looking for 5 minutes. Because there was the montage.
Yes, that's right.
Made it seem like it was like hours. But yeah, they were looking for 5 minutes. They find the book and they find out.
They figure out how to kill the turkey, right?
They do figure out how to kill the turkey.
What was that way?
I honestly don't remember, and I'm reading right now to look at. My memory is shot. I can watch a movie 5 times in a row and just, remember the vague plot outline and everything like that. I know they find out that Turkey is going to be in a teepee. I do remember that. So the jock just goes, all right, it's how hard is it going to be to find a teepee? Let's go waste his ass. And so then they read a little further and find out, well, if he's not in his teepee, that means he's out killing someone.
Right.
So he's either in his teepee or killing somebody. Nothing in between.
So the way to kill him is you have to get his magic talisman from him.
That's right. That's right. And
that has to be removed.
Yeah. And it's hidden in his feathers. I do remember that.
And the rest of the passage about how to destroy him was written in code.
Yes. Oh, yeah, which the nerd has to figure out.
Right.
And which the character that I said I would probably be says, man, I hate books. Why can't they just write it out?
Oh, and when Darren, the nerd, Darren, does crack the code in the book, he discovers that the turkey must be burned at the stake after a demonic prayer is said backwards. But first, you have to get the magic talisman.
Mm-hmm. So you have to do all of that in order. And the thing is, they do try to kill him, and it seems like, they might, I think they pretty much damn near blow him up at one point.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. No, what happened? Well, first he kills Billy.
Yes.
Because Billy finds him trying to drag the sheriff's faceless body away and screams that the turkey's in the house and it's not her dad.
Yes. So Billy the hick, right?
Yes.
Billy the hick. So
they all run, and they go outside.
Yeah, they go outside, and Billy finds this cartoonish-looking turkey, right?
Yes.
So this cartoonish-looking turkey. So, of course, the fat hillbilly guy is going to eat the cartoonish-looking turkey, right?
It's like a hologram of a freshly cooked Thanksgiving turkey.
Yeah. You would, it looks like it came right out of a Bugs Bunny cartoon out of the 50s.
100%.
Just a simple animation of a turkey. So he eats it with the worst effects possible. And that was turkey magically going into his body and then shooting his way out.
Like Alien.
And then you get this fantastic scene, this amazing scene that anybody that has a best friend can identify with. It's a scene of the nerd, holding Billy.
Yes.
Because they are best friends.
Yes.
I forgot to mention that at the beginning. They are best friends. The nerd is not really good friends with the other people in the group.
But wait, you're skipping something.
Oh no.
The bus through. He says, "Gobble gobble, motherfucker."
Yes, the classic line, which is written on the back of the shirt that I'm wearing right now. So absolutely, man, gobble gobble, motherfucker.
But now
continue throughout the series. So yeah, so he is holding him and he's saying all these things. There's just guts and guts and guts on top of his stomach, and he's just saying, "It's not that bad. It's not that bad." And just all these things, and just holding him while he's crying, the most ridiculous fake crying you've ever seen in your life. And then we get flashbacks to a montage. And then he says, remember when you gave me my first ice cream cone at the sunset? And it shows them feeding each other ice cream cones. It shows them, of course, skipping through a field, holding hands. It just shows the most, if this was done with a serious couple or something like that, there's a way to make this serious, but the way they shoot it and with the score and with what's going on and the overacting and everything makes it the funniest sentimental scene ever. It is great.
I agree. I totally agree. And as this is all happening, by the way, so we're getting closer to the end of the movie, obviously, somehow it's getting funnier. This movie is not losing steam at all.
No, that's the beauty of the runtime.
Yes.
60 minutes,
Yes.
and the thing is, it takes off once it gets, when you open a movie the way they open a movie, and it just doesn't stop.
Right.
It just doesn't stop. There's just there's always, I feel in comedies, especially with Hollywood comedies, there's always a little lull where like the main character needs to figure himself out or figure something out. There's always some sort of heartfelt moment.
Yes.
But this thing...
This was your heartfelt moment.
Yeah, this was your heartfelt moment. It lasts, like a 30-second flashback to them skipping and holding hands and feeding each other ice cream, and then it's right back to it.
Yes, and now we think they're actually going to kill the turkey, right?
Yeah.
So they think they got it all figured out, and they have the turkey cornered, and this is where we see the hermit guy come out and blow him away with a shotgun. And somehow there is a garbage can filled with radioactive waste, and the turkey flies into it, and it slams shut, and the turkey's in there. And they're like, hey, that's not the way we can kill him. And they go and look into it, and they say, I don't know, he looks pretty dead.
Yeah.
And then they just leave him there thinking the turkey's dead.
But the thing is, if you've seen a horror movie in your life, you know that if you don't follow the rules...
He's not dead.
He's not dead, and if you don't follow the rules, usually things take a turn for the worst.
Yes. So now we have a radioactive turkey.
Yes. So, radioactive turkey out of the radioactive waste, classic. I have to assume that's got to be a callback to the Toxic Avenger.
Yes.
What else would it be?
Yes, 100%. 100%. And now we have to see Darren, the dork, get murdered in the kitchen.
Yeah.
By the radioactive turkey.
Yes. And he, turkey, there's a scene while he's killing him, he gets his tongue ripped out, gets his heart ripped out. Like, the thing is, I don't know, I think Darren is... besides the cop, the other most hilarious character in it. And it's funny because with him, with any type of exposition or thinking out loud or anything like that, you get the story, you get a lot of stuff with Darren. So you get the turkey story, you get, he's the one that supposedly that figures out how to kill him. And on top of it, he's hilarious.
Yeah, he's definitely...
He's got everything in this movie.
He's the main guy, for sure.
It's weird, because you would think Kristen or the jock would be the main guy, but really, Darren and his buddy, until he dies, until the both of them die, like, those are the guys that I'm with and I'm following. Yeah, right. And I'm just like, man, these guys are hilarious.
We should also point out that when Darren does die, he sees Billy in heaven, telling him, come on.
Yep. Oh, yeah. And that's another thing. They continue to use that in the sequel, too.
Yes.
They continue to use that device. And it's just as funny.
Oh, yeah. We're going to talk about that, too.
Yes.
Probably not as detailed as this, but yeah, we're definitely going to talk about that. So Johnny comes into the kitchen, and he gets cut up with a turkey carver.
Yep. The electric knife, the mini Leatherface is, goes to town on him.
But we also see Kristen start the turkey on fire.
Yes.
So we're getting somewhere here. The turkey, and he's supposed to be burnt.
Well, first she slaps Turkey and then runs into the shack.
Right. And technically Johnny isn't dead yet. Yeah. He's going to die. But we don't see him die yet. But he's going to die from his injuries.
He is definitely going to die.
So yeah, she runs into the shed, and then we see her being the final girl. Yeah. And figuring out what she needs to do because all of her friends are dead.
Yeah, she grabs the pipe, knocks him into a pile of wood, and is congratulated by Oscar. And her and she eats Turkey's legs.
Yes.
So she gets a meal out of it.
And I want to point this out. The hermit guy looks like Ted Nugent.
Yes. Yes, if Ted Nugent gained just a little bit of weight, that is him. It's crazy. I knew he looked familiar. See, look at that, right in the notes right there. See, it's funny, when I see somebody that looks like that, my dad was just like a big burly biker guy. Okay. And he had a ton of friends that looked like that.
Like Ted Nugent?
Yeah, like Ted Nugent. just like backwoods dudes. Yeah. So it's like, every time I see somebody like that, and I'm like, they look so familiar, I just think, it's probably one of my dad's friends from back in the day.
Well, Ted Nugent would kill a turkey.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, I'm just saying.
Ted Nugent has killed probably tens of thousands of turkeys in his time.
That was just this year.
Yeah. Exactly.
This dude breeds turkeys to kill turkeys.
Yes, he does.
Just saying. Hey, the guy lives off the land and he does his own thing. Hey, and he's a badass guitar player.
I'm a vegetarian and I've got no problem with anybody that kills things and uses them.
Yeah.
As long as you're using them, I've got no problem with it.
I mean, he's got the same point of view as you. As long as you're using every part of it, who cares?
Who cares? Who cares? I just choose not to do it myself.
Right.
It is what it is.
So we see Kristen win.
Yes.
We see the cooked turkey on the table at the end, and then it speaks.
It speaks.
And the cooked turkey says, to be continued in space.
Yeah. Well, before that, the one-liner, and
what
this
was
is
it?
because I'm looking at the Wikipedia as
Okay.
we're going. So, spoiler alert. He says, "Do I smell a sequel, biatch?"
That's right. That's right.
And then you see it pan by, and then it says "in space."
Yes.
And that's Thankskilling 2 is in space.
No, Thankskilling 3 is in space.
Thankskilling 2 is in space. Thankskilling 3, they need to find the last copy of Thankskilling 2, which is in space.
So, in case you're confused, there is no Thankskilling 2.
There is a Thankskilling 2 in the universe of Thanksgiving.
Right. But there,
Not in our universe.
Right.
There's
We can't watch
We
it.
can't watch it, unfortunately.
because as Thankskilling 3 let us know at the beginning, Thankskilling 2 was so fucking bad that they burned every copy to ever exist except
Every single one.
one.
Except for one, because one was in a garbage bag that they just could not find.
Right.
So, you want to just roll right into Thankskilling 3 for a
let's
second?
let's just,
So I'll give it a brief summary.
Yeah.
And so Thankskilling 3, basically a brief summary of it is it opens the same way on a boob and blah, blah, blah. You know, the same actress and stuff. Same
in
deal.
space.
In
She's
space.
floating.
And she's floating in space. Yeah, it's the same exact thing as the opening as the first one, but in space. So, and then I don't even remember. Here's the thing. I don't remember very much in line because I've seen this movie once and then I watched it last night and it was only my second time watching it.
Well,
and
the
there's
turkey floats
so many things
Oh my God.
going on. Plus, you go from a 62-minute runtime for Thankskilling to a 99-minute runtime,
Yes.
and there's obviously more money.
Yeah, it's not as low budget.
It's not as low budget. It's definitely shot with better cameras.
Right.
The cinematography is much better.
Equally
Stuff
shitty
like
actors.
that. Equally shitty actors. All that stuff that you love in your B movies is still there. All the things that make Thankskilling is still there.
Yes.
Except it looks a little better.
It does.
So the thing is, I feel like that with a longer runtime, Thankskilling at 99 minutes, I don't think I'd be able to sit through that.
No.
Thankskilling 3 at 99 minutes with just a budget that's been kicked up a little bit with a better looking movie.
Yes.
I don't know. I thought it was a breeze too. It was a breeze
Yeah.
at an hour and 40 minutes if you like the first one.
I just want to point out too that first scene where she's floating in space, then the turkey is also floating in space, and he shoots what look like Star Wars like lasers and blows her up in half.
Yes.
And that's how the movie starts.
That's how it starts.
But this movie is all over the place.
It's all over the place. That's why I'm like, if you're going to ask me for a timeline right now, I should have taken notes. I did not take notes. This is all coming out of my brain, and I have the Wikipedia open on my phone next to me.
I don't even have that.
Yeah. But so, basically, there is a puppet in a dumpster, a talking garbage bag, and a backpack with some sort of talking animation that comes off the front of it.
Yes.
Yeah. Confusing.
Yes.
I have no idea why. Nothing is explained. Why this puppet. I'm just as clueless as anybody else that puts this in, even on a rewatch.
The whole movie, and I'm not shitting on it because I do think it's worth the watch if you want to have a good laugh, but the whole entire movie makes no sense.
None.
The second one, like the first one makes sense.
Yes.
There's a timeline, everything goes the way it goes. In the second one, there's crazy puppets, there's different puppets.
There's a robot from space.
Yes.
There's a talking worm, which also
yes.
has like a headquarters with more talking worms
Yes.
where he gets information from.
Right.
There's
a giant turkey at one point.
Yes. And there's also two guys that are so obsessed with Thanksgiving that they want to make a theme park called Thanksgiving Land.
Yes.
And they dress as old-timey colonial
Pilgrims,
settlers.
basically. Yeah. It's close.
Pilgrim? I would say more like George Washington.
Yeah,
they look
there you
like
go,
George
there you go, with the
Washington.
white wigs
Yeah, they
and-
don't
yeah.
have the buckle hats. They have
You're
the white
right.
wigs. They have like the tights with the pointy shoes
Yes.
and the cloaks. So they're dressed up like colonial people, and they want to make Thanksgiving Land. And the one guy, the main guy who we mostly follow, he is going to be the owner, and the other guy is obsessed with being the head of security with a 6-foot stick with a butter knife taped on the end of it.
Right.
He's gonna be he's gonna be the head of security of this theme park with a spear. And the head of security, the main character goes to his grandmother's house.
Oh, that's right. Then the grandmother's a pervert.
a rapping pervert.
Yes.
That's stuck in a wheelchair.
And she is a puppet.
She's a puppet.
Yes.
She's a puppet.
A lot of puppets.
Hilarious.
Yeah.
She's hilarious.
Yeah.
She also has the best death scene. Since we're just summarizing, I'm not going to give away the death scene. If you like Thankskilling, trust me, you know if you like it. And by now, if you got this far in the episode, you know what kind of movie this is. You're going to seek it out if you want to.
I gotta say, too, the synopsis of this is the entire movie revolves around finding the last copy of Part 2.
Yes.
So
the
that's
last copy.
what it is.
And that's the thing. And unknowingly, the puppet has it in her backpack.
Yes, that
the
she found
entire
it.
time.
That
That she
she found,
found in the talking garbage bag in the dumpster. when the colonial guy, what's his name? I can't remember. Don. Yeah, Don.
They were calling him Uncle Don.
Uncle Don. When Uncle Don finds her in the dumpster, and then you got them two that are teamed up, and then you've got, because they're not looking for the last copy of Thankskilling 2.
No.
She's just teaming up with him just because. And the thing is, there's like some sort of tracking on it, or Turkey can see out of the eyes from the turkey that's on the cover of the movie.
And then I think it's his son, the baby turkey, after he kills his wife, that puts his head through the DVD box.
Mm-hmm. And his head is through the DVD box throughout the rest of the thing, and he's stuck like in the DVD box.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, my favorite scene from this movie, and I'm sorry to spoil this, but at the end there's a fight scene between the old wise turkey and the young turkey, right?
Oh, yes.
And for whatever reason, it turns into a Nintendo game. For no reason.
Yeah,
there's
what's that game called? Mortal Kombat or Streets of Rage or something?
Yeah, it's like Streets of Rage,
and the thing is, too, like, the battle scene when it first came up, they used, like, that battle music from Pokemon.
Yes.
I noticed that.
Yeah.
And then the thing is, they had the images from Pokemon, like how it's just, like... From the original Game Boy game.
Yes, where they float in.
Yeah, where they float in, and then there's just one silhouette here and one there, and then you use the thing. I was hoping it would continue like that, but it didn't. Yeah. It got more Mortal Kombat-y and stuff like that.
And he says, why did you pick a game from 1993 to put us in? And he says, because you didn't come to my Christmas party in 1993. Yes. And he goes, oh yeah, how was that? And he says, not bad, Martha made a wicked eggnog or something like that. And then they fight. It made no sense.
Oh my gosh.
And then after the fight scene, for no reason, one of the worms is playing the saxophone.
Yes.
For no reason.
It's funny because when that part came up in the movie, there was just so much nonsense going on. That's when I officially thought in my own head, I should have been taking notes this whole time because this movie is so fun and I'm loving it. I think I'm going to remember these one-liners. I'm not going to, but I'm like, I think I'm going to remember all this, but there's just so much going on. But it's not because of the kind of movie it is. It's not too much.
Well, honestly though, I think even if I took notes, I wouldn't have done it justice because it's literally all like stuff happens for no reason with no explanation. And it's hilarious, but it just comes in and then it's gone. And then
like
it's
if you're
back.
writing notes like handwritten, you won't be able to keep up. You have to have like a tablet or a laptop in front of you taking notes with this because you just can't write fast enough because there's so much going on.
It's almost like a watch along.
Yeah, like if you just heard like, you know, the brief beginning synopsis I told, you know, a puppet teams up with Uncle Don dressed in colonial wear, and then a space robot teams up with a talking worm from outer space. And now, you know, Turkey from the first one is teaming up with his son who sticks his head through a DVD box and they're trying to find it and put together. Oh my gosh.
Oh, that's our character from both movies, Turkey.
Yeah, Turkey. Yeah.
He was in 1 and 2.
Yeah, 1 and 2.
We don't know if he was in 2 because 2 got scrapped.
3, excuse me.
But he was in 3.
The confusion of this thing. I really hope that someday that they do give us like a 60-minute version of Thankskilling 2 and actually try to make it the worst movie ever. Like, don't try to make it good like these two.
Yeah.
Like, officially try to make the worst movie ever made.
There was a spot in Thankskilling 3 where there was almost like flashes of part 2.
Yes. Yeah.
But all it was like a death scene of like somebody with their guts all over the place, and then somebody else was getting like carried away, and that's all you get.
Yes.
So, or I'm sorry, you get the space scene too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you get the space scene absolutely. Oh my gosh. Yeah, but Thankskilling 3, I think we should cut it off there because people will, you know, just from that, if you can take that, trust me, both of these movies are perfect movies if you have friends that enjoy these kinds of movies where, you know, I get together with friends every once in a while and have like a bad movie night.
Yeah, right.
They're not bad movies. They're just movies that are so ridiculous.
Right.
Like there's this movie, Tammy and the T-Rex.
I've seen that.
You know, that's an exclusive bad movie night movie. Of course you got your Troll 2, your Garbage Pail Kids, the movie, stuff like that. So yeah, this fits in perfectly with them, but it's not a bad movie, I don't think. Neither of them are.
Well, let me ask you this. Since we went through part 1 in detail, out of 1 to 5, how many turkeys do you give this movie?
Oh man, I think on my Letterboxd account, Mike Burns Who on Letterboxd, if you're a nerdy movie lover like me, I think I give it 4 stars, which would equal out to 4 turkeys.
Okay.
Out of 5. And the thing is, the only reason it doesn't get a little more is just because of things like budget constraints.
The camera annoyed me a few times.
I think the shaky cam, and on top of it, I think they shot it digitally in 2009, which you didn't have the best digital equipment back then, especially for low budget. Stuff was still kind of expensive. Like, I think Zodiac had just come out like the year before, and so that was the first big Hollywood movie shot in 1080p full HD.
Oh, okay.
So, stuff was still kind of expensive back then, so they probably didn't have the best equipment. And that's technical aspects is mostly where that came from.
Well, I'm on par with you because I was going to say 4 turkeys also.
Beautiful.
So I recommend it. I recommend seeing the sequel afterwards.
Absolutely.
And they're literally both streaming for free.
Yeah.
So even if you can't find it on, like, if you're a DVD collector or whatever, which you can find it, I promise you.
MVD Rewind has the 2 DVD set, and you can buy them separately too. MVD Rewind always has sales. I just bought it off of Amazon, got it the day after for $14.99. So it's out there. It's reasonably priced.
And if you're a horror, like, collector, like, this is a cool piece to have in your collection.
Oh, yeah. It's filled with bonus features, too.
Is it really?
Yeah, and the bonus features are all, because it was such an independent release that, like, they have all their own stuff.
Oh,
like,
okay.
a lot of times when you don't see a lot of bonus features, it's either, like, A, they can't afford them, or B, like, it's big studios that don't want to spend the extra money to do it.
Gotcha.
So most of the time, I'd say most independent people, like, they just have hours upon hours upon hours of just behind the scenes stuff shot, you know?
Yeah.
You get, like, music videos, and they have tons of stuff on there. Trailers for other ridiculous movies. It's great. I highly recommend, if you like this, stop by MVD Rewind, grab the DVD set, stop by pizzapartyprinting.com, grab their t-shirt, and they have tons of other horror t-shirts and stuff.
And we're going to tell them that you plugged them twice.
Absolutely.
We're going to tell them. Now, before we move on to anything else, give me some more Thanksgiving horror movie recommendations for our listeners. And, I mean, they don't necessarily have to be comedies.
Absolutely. I will go in the order that I watched them in, though.
Okay.
So what I did last night was my wife and I, Darcy, we watched a movie called Blood Freak from 1972. Now, this movie is released by Something Weird Video on DVD. If that rang a bell with you and you know what Something Weird Video is, then you know what you're in for. If not, they kind of release, like, really low budget 60s and 70s kind of like independent, like more hippie, like groovier kind of weird horror movies. Like Something Weird is a perfect name for what they release. They do a lot of like Herschel Gordon Lewis's like gore flicks. Like they release like Blood Feast and Wizard of Gore and all those back in the day. So Blood Freak is basically a kind of like religious kind of hippie cult that they do different drugs and stuff like that. And so what happens is one of them takes a bad drug. And what happens with this drug is the guy turns into a turkey. And in order to survive, or in order to not go through withdrawals or something like that, he has to drink people's other drug addicts' blood.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So that's where the Blood Freak
is this another killer turkey movie?
It's a killer turkey. He's like half human, half turkey.
Okay.
It is ridiculous. And here's the thing. If it is the perfect, like, 70s B-movie drive-in kind of, like, this is not a good movie. This is not a good movie by any stretch of the imagination. This is another, like, if you're interested in Thanksgiving movies, I think I gave it's one of those movies that I couldn't give it more than like 2.5 out of 5 stars because it's turkeys, excuse me. Because it's a bad movie.
Right.
But on Letterboxd you can still hit like, even if you can give something a half a star and hit the like button.
Gotcha.
I hit that like button.
Yeah.
I could not find enough in that movie to give it 2.5 stars, but I hit that like button and that's all that matters. So yeah, and the thing is too, if you've seen Reefer Madness,
yes,
it's just like that, to where it cuts to a narrator sometimes, and the narrator kind of says what's going on, and it's kind of meant to be a spoof on like those kinds of dangers of drugs videos. Yeah. So, and it's the writer-director who's doing those narrations, and the funniest part of this movie is at the end when he's doing his final narration, he's smoking the whole time. He straight up starts coughing on his smoke, and they don't cut it out. Like, he's like choking on his smoke, and he's like, and still talking while he's doing it, still doing his narration.
And they just left it
They
there?
left it in the movie. There's some scenes where it's so dark, you can't really see what's going on. There's just so many things. And like, if what I'm never going to tell anybody not to see a movie, but if what I said interests you, please check this out. It is fun. It's a bad movie. If you like watching these bad movies, if you like driving movies, if you want to
That's
be
me.
the person at the party that's like, oh, you don't know much Thanksgiving horror. Have you seen 1972's Blood Freak? You can be that guy because
This is the one.
I'm that guy.
What do you got next?
So what I got next is an absolute, within the horror crowd, a Thanksgiving darling. It is Blood Rage from, I believe it was shot in 1984 or 85, but not released until like 1987.
Oh, okay.
Because it was so low budget, and this is a slasher. And
Yes,
this
yeah.
one, it has your gore, it has your slashing, it has your, kind of a whodunit thing, but not really. There's overacting in this, there's bad acting in it, but there's also fun parts, like, to where the effects in Blood Freak, I would say, are terrible too. Like, there's nothing good about it. You can see hoses with blood squirting out when there's blood squirting out.
Oh, perfect.
You can see the actors' faces, like, squinching their eyes and stuff and trying not to get blood in their face while their scenes are going. Like, the acting is absolutely horrendous by 80% of the cast. Same thing with this.
Yeah.
But the thing is, the only good actor in Blood Rage is overacting so much that it's bad.
He was looking for an award.
It was
she.
Louise Lasser.
Is this the final girl?
It is, no, she is the mother of that. There's a final girl and a final boy in this. So Blood Rage it starts off with these two twin brothers at the drive-in with their mother and I believe a boyfriend of their mother's. So they look in the back in their station wagon and see that their boys are asleep. So then they see their boys are asleep and the boyfriend's like, come on, they've been asleep for a half hour, they're not gonna wake up. So, they get onto the hanky-panky. So then the kids get out of the car, unbeknown to them. Mm-hmm. So, the kids get out of the car, one of them kills somebody.
Okay.
Kills somebody else in their car. So what happens is, his twin brother is kind of catatonic and is just struck. He's just paused right there. Mm-hmm. So then his brother gives him the machete and then takes the blood that's on his hands, rubs it on his brother's hands, rubs it on his brother's face while he's catatonic sitting there. His brother goes away for the murder.
All
so
right.
they put the wrong guy away. And then
I like this.
Yes. And then 15 years later, while, the brother, the actual murderer that didn't get locked up, now he's with his friends and it's Thanksgiving and he's at his mom's house and his, friends are back from college or something like that. It's a slasher. Does the plot really matter?
Right. We know what's coming.
So the thing is, his other brother escapes and everybody finds out. The doctor calls the mom, and then, everybody finds out eventually. And then the thing is, though, his mom announces at Thanksgiving dinner that she's getting married to the new boyfriend. Not the boyfriend from before.
Yeah, a new one.
This is a new guy. So, and that makes Terry's the guy that didn't get put away, but he is the murderer.
Oh, he snaps right there. That's his breaking point.
That's his breaking point right there. So he snaps, and then he starts killing again. Coincidentally, his brother Todd escapes from the mental institution. So everybody thinks it's Todd, but it's really Terry. They're identical twins. You can't tell them apart. So, and the thing is, I'm not going to ruin the ending. You guys have to see this movie. If you see Blood Rage anywhere streaming, I do know for a fact it should be on Shudder, and you get the Joe Bob Briggs treatment with it.
Oh, cool.
Watch it.
I love Joe Bob.
Watch it. It is awesome. And the thing is, this is a movie that's so low budget, and, here we go. It was filmed in 1983, and it wasn't released until 1987 under the title Nightmare at Shadow Woods, and there's also a more censored cut just called Slasher. If you get the Arrow edition or if you stream it anywhere, it's the uncut one. It's the one, it says Slasher above it, so that one's going to be your one. And starring cult favorite and brother of Sam Raimi, Ted Raimi makes an appearance. So not starring, he makes an appearance. It's fun. A little cameo. I think it was his first or second role too.
So how many turkeys is this movie though?
This movie as a slasher, as the thing is, there's parts that are so bad that it's good in this movie, but on top of it, there's great bloody effects. There's some great gore. When the stepfather to be gets, I don't think you see him get killed, but you do see the aftermath, and it is fantastic. This is another 4-star. This is just as good as Thankskilling.
Awesome.
If I don't make it to Blood Freak around Thanksgiving time, I'm 100% watching Blood Rage and Thankskilling and trying to get in Thankskilling 3 if I can every single Thanksgiving. So yeah, it is a 4 out of 5. I'm not even going to, because there's so much that is actually good in it that can actually bring up the score for me. And, you know, it's not super low budget. The restoration by Arrow Video looks beautiful. Do have a Blu-ray out that has that censored version, The Nightmare at Shadow Woods, that has the uncut version, which is slasher. Ton of special features. Tons and tons and tons. I would highly recommend it if you're into holiday horror or holiday movies at all. He says it's not cranberry sauce like 20 times in it. It was shot. It doesn't feel like Thanksgiving time because it was shot in Jacksonville, Florida, I believe.
Okay.
But they mentioned Thanksgiving 8,000 times. And they're eating Thanksgiving food. There's Thanksgiving dinners. There's get-togethers. There is, you know, it's not Thanksgilling level of Thanksgiving feelings. But there's definitely no shortage.
But you know what... You know it's that time. They make it very clear that it's a Thanksgiving murder movie. Mm-hmm. Okay.
And that's all I'm going to say about that one. Highly, highly recommend. Now, here's one. I would never tell anybody not to see a movie, but I thought it was just okay. It's just like a run-of-the-mill slasher. It's called Home Sweet Home. I think it's from the late 80s. I didn't do too much research on it. I just watched it last night for the first time. It's your typical guy in an insane asylum, gets out, he's killing people, blah, 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 blah.
And it happens to be on Thanksgiving?
Yeah, it happens to be on Thanksgiving. The guy's kind of like your typical, like, 70s looking bodybuilder, so he doesn't really fit a slasher. You know how they're like big up top, got little legs.
Yeah.
They only do like the chest and the arms. So like,
I know a couple guys that still do that.
Yeah. Yeah, the dude looks like that, and he's just like big and brooding, and he's definitely like creepy and gross and like sweaty and stuff like that. But it's there's good parts of it. There's good kills. If you like slashers and you're a slasher completist, 100% watch it. It's on YouTube.
I mean, I'd watch it.
Yeah.
Oh, that was the one we were talking about.
It's on YouTube.
Yeah.
So
we were texting about that one.
Yeah.
Okay.
It sucks because I think it's a VHS rip, which you put a VHS rip like on if you have a really good flat screen, like a 4K one, it makes it look so bad. So, that also added into like, I just didn't have much fun watching it, but there are fun parts to it. I'm also not a number one slasher fan. That is my wife.
Gotcha.
Slasher would probably be my top 5 subgenres, probably number 5 of my favorite subgenres, but I'm not a humongous fan of slashers.
But the lingering question, how many turkeys?
That one, I don't know. I'd give it like 1.5 turkeys, 2, maybe.
Maybe two.
I just wasn't a fan of it. I hate, but the thing is, please, if what I said, you know, I would compare it to a movie. It kind of felt like if you've seen Don't Answer the Phone or some of those sleazier slashers. Okay. It kind of reminded me of that. A typical B-movie slasher.
Okay.
If it sounds
I'd
good
probably
to you,
like it.
Please check it out. It's free on YouTube, and the thing is, I try not to watch movies on YouTube because I try to always support artists and stuff like that, but you cannot find this movie anywhere.
Yeah,
it's one of those that if you want a physical copy, you have to get a bootleg copy, make your own, or watch it on YouTube.
Gotcha. Okay. Now, one final question before we end.
What's up?
Will you come back and do a Christmas horror movie episode?
I would absolutely love to do that because I could even get even deeper cuts because I'd say like 2015 and before, there was a healthy number of Christmas movies, but like they weren't making them new ones. They weren't making new ones.
Yeah.
I'd say like in the last 5 years, they have like heard the horror crowd and they know people love spooky Christmas stuff.
Yes.
And they have went at it, and there are some great ones. There are some great deep cuts. There are some great ones just like Thankskilling, made for like $3 a roll of duct tape and a paperclip.
Yep.
And they work wonderfully. I would love to, and I can't wait for that.
I'm excited to do that too, and we're not going to do like pick a movie, break it down. We're going to have a list of Christmas horror movies, and we're going to make recommendations and give brief and let you guys know what you need to check out. And we'll spend the whole hour just giving you watch this, and they'll all be Christmas related.
Yes, I cannot wait. That's going to be so fun.
Probably soon, because if we get too close to Christmas, you guys will not watch them because Christmas will end. And
Oh, no. All of this, basically, probably till mid-January, I'm watching Horror Christmas.
I mean,
if there's snow on the ground and my Christmas lights are still up, it's still Christmas to me. Plus, there might be another shutdown.
That's true.
I'm going to get cozy and I'm going to watch Christmas movies until I feel like it's the wrong time to.
Agreed.
Until I have to get into my Valentine's Day movies.
Right, I was going to say. And then we'll do that.
Yeah, there we go. Absolutely. It's perfect.
All right. Well, thanks for coming, man.
Absolutely, man. This was a blast.
This was a lot of fun, and I am looking forward to the Christmas one.
Me too, man.
All right, listeners. Thank you for joining us. Chaz, we're super disappointed. Mike, it feels like you hate him. He shed a tear when he walked in and you weren't here. So to ask him to do the Christmas movies, I actually got down on one knee and proposed. You guys couldn't see that. I put a spider ring on his finger with a Santa Claus hat. It was a whole thing.
Don't worry, I said yes.
All right, guys, thanks for joining us. We'll catch you next week on All Bets Are Off.
See you next time.
The preceding presentation has been brought to you by the Gear Network.